All right, everybody, we are just about to start here. We had somebody get some coffee. You know, it's one of those days. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've unmuted you guys now. Hello, everybody. It is episode 9 of the Secret Cantina podcast, and we are on set 5. Hype. That is the talk of the town, and we're going to talk a lot about it today. Today I have with me Andrew and Brandon, and I'm really excited. I know we've all been in the lab just looking at every single card, trying to mess around. There's some stuff we've been messing around with that are pretty fun. Some stuff that we've messed around that's not, I mean, it's fun, but not very good. So, namely Purgle King, but you know, hey, that's just me. People are not in on the Purgle King on Team Secret, but let me tell you, it's great.
Some people are
Yeah,
not
that's true.
in.
That's true. Some people are not in. You put a gun in that fish's hand, he's going to town. You can put a lightsaber on him. We'll talk about that a little more. Anyway, so real quick, just I always do some shout outs. There were several PQs this weekend. I believe friend of the team, Mickey D, went ahead and took down a PQ. I actually don't know where the PQ was, but I did know that he went and took down one.
Either.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mickey, but he went and took one down. Congratulations to him. John Todd, still no purple name in the Discord. You know, shots fired.
Bill has not won a PQ. Well, just letting everybody know.
Yeah, no special. Ian, no special guest. Yes, there is no special guest today. If you want to join in, I can add you and we can get you in here. But no, not today. We also we had a showdown that local to us. One of our friends, Alejandro, went ahead and took that down. And what's also really awesome is in our community we have a young kid. His name's Ashton, and he top forward that PQ, or that not PQ, the showdown. And he's playing. He's a longtime Sabine player, but he decided to play Ray Data Vault, and he went ahead and got top 4. So Ashton, if you're listening, huge shout out to you and congratulations to you and your dad. Both, I think it was 3rd and 4th, or 2nd and 3rd at the showdown for both of them. So that's pretty awesome. 7 years old, 7 years old, and he's taking us all to school. That kid's going to be a menace. He's going to be a menace.
That's a formal record, but yeah, we all know on Team Secret, Ashton's run a train on every last one of us. Yeah, I think at some point. So.
His melee name is Ashy Smashy, and man, when we were in Richmond, he actually played 3 of us. He went 3-1 at Richmond, and he played myself, and Ryan, and just crushed the 2 of us on Sabine. It was bad. Like he was like, I'm gonna have some fun, and just put a dark saber on Sabine and just crushed us. It's like, oh, you want to have some fun?
Good time.
Please stop, Ashton. No, but it was a great time. So really shout out to him. But that's all I've got for the shout outs. I guess to anybody else who won a PQ this weekend, shout out to you. Hopefully see you at the Galactics coming up here in a little over a month and a half. So let's go ahead and talk about set 5. So as everybody knows, or as if you don't know, all of the cards on Friday were released. There was a little bit of drama that there were some leaks. There was some discussion on Reddit that people were talking about whether or not, content creators should have cards ahead of time, or that why should people know the cards before anybody that works at FFG. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit because this happened in Magic at one point, and it's been so long, but there were leaks in Magic, and I'm curious what you guys think about content creators, or content creators specifically on bigger teams, having access to these cards, or competitive teams having access to any of the cards or lists prior, especially with how this is going to shape up with the first real event being Worlds after the release of Legends of the Force. Curious what your guys' take on this is. I'll start with you, Andrew. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, they have play testers, obviously, right? So they need full access to the set early, and I understand, like with partners, with content creators, they definitely need access early. I guess our perspective going to Minneapolis was just like a lot of people came up to us and were like, "Yeah, we've seen like the whole set," and we're like, "Okay, these are people like that are like playing in Vegas," and you're like, "All right, this is a little weird that you kind of have access to everything like over a month before we would, 6 weeks or 2 months or something by the date
Uh,
we would have gotten it all."
I think it
I
was. I
forget.
think. I think they wanted to have it released about a month before, like everything
Okay,
released. I think
yeah.
something close to that.
So yeah, so that's like a lot of lead time. So that's like kind of weird. So I understand with the play testers, but like I'm not sure why like I understand like the cards are spoiling. I don't really understand why content creators need to see all of the cards from the set if they're playing in the competitive event. That doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not a huge fan of. I think that content creators should be able to have the card. I think that they need to plan videos because not everybody does releases it live or anything like that. I think that they need to be able to have time to, whether if they're going to release it via Twitter or now X, or Blue Sky, or however they're going to release it, they need some like prep time to go ahead and do that. And I think that's perfectly fine. I don't know what the lead up time for that is. um so that's going to be interesting. What do you think, Brandon? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I saw for sure was, like individual people, well, like individual creators getting to spoil like a card or two. And I don't know, from like my position, I don't think any of those teams, like even if given that like one or two card, slight advantage and knowledge is really going to affect anyone doing serious testing pre full set release, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't seem to mind it. If this is how they want to do like spoilers or whatever, I think it's cool that certain people who have a platform, get to share that with the community and get to like talk about it. I think it's cool, and yeah, I haven't seen it like I don't, I want to stomp on this team drama crap and kill it forever. So, I think it's good. I don't think there's any sneakiness going on here. And yeah, up until this point, yeah, unless there was like a true like leak of the set or whatever, maybe there's an issue there, but I don't really see that being what happened here. And yeah, I think right now all of us are kind of in the same mindset. We're all churning through a ton of new stuff, and throwing 80% of it in the locals bin. But yeah, excited to see what we all kind of come up with for galactics, and see if any of that starts to kind of bubble its way to the surface pre-galactics as well.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I agree with you, Ian. I see that you're putting some messages about like one spoiler versus the whole set, and I agree with you that having one spoiler here and there, and this also agrees is with you, Brandon, about the content creators engaging in feedback with the community. It's just net positive to have one or two spoilers for any creator. I think that's just like hugely positive. I don't know that it was leaked by a content creator. That was the rumor that I had heard. I don't know how true that is. I mean, you see it on Reddit. It's the internet, right? And everything that you read on the internet is true. But in order for them to go ahead and release the entire set, there is some validity that some amount of it was true. So there was somebody, whoever it was, whether it was a creator or a tester, that had all of the cards, and they felt like it was an unfair advantage. And I think a lot of people felt like it was an unfair advantage, especially leading into a time when, we're all trying to figure out what the next set is or the next cards are. They're already ahead. They get all this time to sit there and brew. Now they could be a bad deck builder, but they could also be just an incredible deck builder. Who knows?
Mhm.
But I agree. I think that dropping it, you know, we all have it now. So maybe in the future they trust different people. I don't know.
What is the delta that we have in between set release and like getting on a plane to go to Galactics? Like how long do we have to acquire these cards and build the
24
deck
hours.
for?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
24 hours.
right.
I
That's
think
that's what
it's
I'm more interested in. Like that's gonna be fucking nuts. But yeah.
I think it's like
July
2
11th.
weeks. Yeah, I think it's like 2 weeks we have. Um
I feel like it's
so
always around the 11th or something of the month.
yeah, something like
Mhm.
that. So I think we have like 2 weeks to acquire what we need and ship out to Worlds on that. Um so I assume that everybody's gonna be trying to get whatever they can get. The prices are gonna be through the roof. It's just gonna be a crazy time. But
Mhm.
hopefully, you know, you figure it out beforehand and get your product, and that's not a limiting factor. Because that is like that would be a frustrating thing to get to the event and then just not have product. That would suck. But I think
Sure.
having about 3 weeks or two and a half to 2 weeks is pretty good.
Mhm.
Um, so with that said, let's go ahead and let's talk about set five. There's a lot got spoiled. I think about a little over half the set got spoiled in one day, and so
Mhm.
there were some pretty sweet cards. But overall, we've had about what 4 days now, 3 days to look over everything. I know our Discord has been just going crazy. We've had so many talks about you know random cards. I'm a huge fan of Purgle King. Notice like in the background here, the lead Purgle. Um, to draw, dude. I was messing around with some Krennic Purgle. Dude, I drew 2 cards off that. Krennic 7 health. He draws me
True.
2 cards. That was sick. Um, it was a lot of fun. Um, there's a bunch of creatures in the set that are pretty cool. I'm curious, like, what are you guys looking at, like, in terms of cards that are like interesting, seem like really powerful, or you just like really like their effects and what they're doing? Let's go ahead, Brandon. Start with you.
That is a good question. Let's see. I think uh looking at set five, pretty interested in some of the vigilance cards that have been released, and pretty interested in some of the green heroism, so like command heroism cards as well. So like one card that I don't see being talked about a lot, that I was pretty interested in was that Yoda legendary unit.
Yeah, that's
Might
really, really
be,
cool.
yeah, a little circumstantial on its use, but yeah, just like plugging that into a few different lists and testing that out, like unbelievable value. Like you just get so much more out of it than you think you're going to get out of it. So that's been pretty interesting. Yeah, we've talked Vader to death, but excited to see how like Always 2 plays out on the vigilance side. Seems pretty powerful, but I think needs some more testing, and I don't know that we have really vetted out its use. So as we continue to farm out the best possible, like blue green villainy deck, I think that a card could certainly be interesting. And let's see, let's find a third one. Yeah, Drink Your Spawn.
Dude, I was about to say it. I'll wait. I'll let Andrew go. I'll let Andrew go first.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into the creature talk, TED talk.
Dude, I love.
Let's see. In general, what looks fun? I think just like trying out some of the Force energies has been fun. Like messing around with like Mother Talzine a little bit. All the Obi-Wan builds look really fun. Like I think those are two really popular decks that I see running around. What else? Obviously, I love Vader unit. Trying to see what kind of shells he can fit into. Um, I probably won't play Heroism Command, but like Brandon said, like some of those units look really cool, like Keller and Beck and Yoda. Like seemed like you can make like a go wide Ray kind of a shell, but like a force build. That would be really cool. Or maybe that slots into Obi-Wan. But yeah, the hero top end seems like a lot better now. So that's pretty exciting if you're a hero command enjoyer. What else? I think it's kind of interesting. Like it seems like some of the like there's force leaders in every color, but like some of the force units early are like not as good in certain colors, and some of them aren't force traded. So I think it's trying to figure out also like what color combinations you can do, and that's kind of been fun.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
gotta
So I know that you guys are joking about Drengir spawn, but that card's actually pretty sick.
But you're dead ass serious.
I am
Mm.
so all right. Hear me out. Right against aggro decks or against anything, you play it on 4. It curves into overwhelming barrage. You kill any number of units. Like say you kill 2 units, right? Like a lot of times you can deal 5 and kill like 2 units. It just gains all of their power or their cost. So it's gonna like become massive, and your opponent then it just attacks your opponent and kills whatever they play or kills them. That card's crazy. Like if you
True.
barrage kill, let's say you just kill like a battlefield marine and let's say like an A wing or something, that's +4. So now it's a 9/9.
Mm.
That card's crazy.
get those green creature decks going, everybody.
That's
We love to see it.
What if they
The,
just attack it though? It's only got three health.
the
see.
one other card I wanted to shout out that I was testing early this morning that was just really performing well for me is Legendary Grogu. So
That card's
that's
really
the
good.
like 1/6. Throw that bad boy in a Han 2 whatever blue. You will not believe the value. I have been blown away how that has changed breakpoints in that deck and how many units that card can bring within 3 damage and to death. And yeah, it's just been huge overperformer. I will be 100% copying as many legendary Grogus as I can find on set release. It is hot. Get you some Grogus.
Card's good. And I also think another card that has for me its stocks have risen after like seeing everything and playing it a lot is Darth Tyrannus, the 4 mana 4/3 Dooku card. Um, that card has gotten a lot better after playing with it and seeing everything. It slots in well. You have the force very often. It just comes in ambush. It's usually like you have a lot of situations where not only are you ambushing because it has shield, you can like choose to put the damage on, then shield it, and like kill like a small unit and put it on there.
Mhm.
You can like kill something that's bigger or put damage on something that's bigger and like use the shield. It trades some. It's like it trades decently well into a lot of things. Um, I think that card's definitely a lot better than it was given credit for in a lot of these shells, and I've been liking that card a lot. Um, the other one is the 1/4 ambush. We talked about it briefly. The Mysterious Hermit. That card's also been really performing pretty well. Um, give you the force very early on for a very low rate to go ahead and start, right into the next turn with the force is really good. Like Obi-Wan, for example, you can like start with the force basically, put a couple
Mm.
damage on it, give it +1, and now it's, that card's getting out of control.
Mhm.
Um, the whole idea there, I think is really good. Um, let's see, what other cards? I want to play more with Sorcerer's Blast. That's something that we've just started to kind of mess around with.
Looks pretty
And
good.
yeah, it seems like it should be good. I mean, Lightning Bolt is insane in
Yeah.
Magic. I don't see why it wouldn't be good in this set either. Um, but that's something I need to play with a bit more. I know you've played with Quinlan Voss a little bit, Andrew. I'm curious how he has been performing for you in general. What do you think of that card?
Yeah, so I played a ton of Quinlan earlier in the year to help you guys prep for Beatle, and then since the suspensions, I was back on Kira. But actually took him to the showdown we all went to this last weekend, and really enjoyed playing the deck. And so I've been jamming him with some of the set 5 cards. the Quinlan unit's really good. One of the issues with that deck is everything attacks for 2 or 3. So, if your opponent's on 25 health, 8 times 3 is 24. You're always like one action away from being able to deal lethal damage, because everything in that deck just attacks for 3. And then even with Surprise Strike, right, that gets you to 6, which is just, that's just another 3. So him being able to attack for 4 just by himself, can put you to over the finish line. He's also a force unit, which is really nice. So I think you could try swapping him out with Kira unit potentially, just because she's not force, and bringing her in for the matchups that she's better in. And then being able to surprise strike or blaster with him for 8 or 9 damage is crazy. That's one thing that deck could never really do. I mean, you had Plo Koon or Han or whatever, but that's so late in the game, and those units usually aren't sticking around for an attack necessarily unless you're really far ahead. But the Quinlan unit comes down so early, and if they don't answer him immediately, being able to deal 9 just puts you so far ahead in the race, and then they have to deal with him, or you can just suit him up next round and deal another 8 or 9 damage. So he's actually been really impressive in early testing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you guys think about the new path that they've taken, or direction they've taken with turn 1 plays from this set? We've got what Gungi is a 2/5. You've got there's a 2/4 in blue is Yaddle. What's the other? There's another one. What is it? Karis is a 2/4. That's the villainy blue. Yaddle's the villain. The heroism blue.
Yeah, and red has the 2/4 that does the 1 damage to base per event played or something like that.
Yeah,
That's popular in Quinlan.
Green's got the 2/4. Is it Venier or Venier? I don't know, I'm terrible with this. It's a 2/4 that on play or when played and on attack.
Snoke guy, yeah.
Yeah, deals he kills a experience token, and then you put another token. You put that token. Basically, you're moving the token if you want to something else. But just in general, going away from 2 3s and 3 3s to 2 4s and 2 5s. So the power budget, or the budget of the cards, is changing a lot. I'm curious what you guys think that's going to do to the game in a positive or negative way. I'll start with you. Let's go with you, Andrew.
Okay. I think it's good. I mean, they're not all Battlefield Marines. I know you have your strong opinions on Battlefield Marine, but I think shifting the stats to more health and less attack or power, I think it's really good, because the conceit that they say that they want to do with this game is have units last longer and have you make trades and stuff like that and bashing into each other or whatever. But that was just never really the case, I feel with how units were statted before. But now it's really difficult to remove your opponents 2/4 on round 2 unless you have a very specific card, or sometimes you don't. It's not worth your time to deal with that unit right away. And now you've got Gungi is 5 health, and there's 12 new sabers or whatever in this set. So there's lots of ways to boost health on things, or Obi-Wan is another one of these experience leaders that's just doling out experience tokens. So I think things having more health as opposed to attack is kind of cool, because it gives you more decisions to make, and makes the game a little bit more about maneuvering for little advantages on the field, as opposed to just being well, I have high power unit and I can just outrace you, and there's not much you can do about it. So I think it's pretty interesting. I think all these units are really exciting, Karis and Adi Gallia, however you pronounce her name. Aura Singh is crazy. I'm not a Cad Bane player, but I mean, if you're a Cad Bane player, you have to be super hype about Aura Singh, I feel like. So I think a lot of these cards are pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I share a lot of the same sentiments, right? It's not a whole lot of fun when someone ambushes into your turn 1 play and just kind of immediately takes the game away from you, or every time I did go into coaching, Like if that happened, immediately the reaction would be like, oh my gosh, we're so far behind now. And, you shouldn't be ever so far behind on turn 2 of a game. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I think just giving the opportunity to like make some decisions, like Andrew was talking about, like, okay, I play this unit, I've got some confidence it's at least going to survive on the board, going into the next turn, and from here I can make a decision on like, okay, well, am I going to risk going tall on this guy with an upgrade just to get removed and give my opponent a fair chance to have that answer? Or am I going to elect to go wide and play into some of the other leader strategies that are in the game, right? So like Obi-Wan giving the buffs or whatever. So I like it for sure, and I haven't seen any like ridiculous cheats to this. I think adding on some of this like aspect flavor, so like looking at Yaddle and saying like, oh, okay, well, not only are we going to get a 2/4, we're going to get like restore for the board out of it, huge value. And I think as long as things stay kind of fair like that, play into certain strategies and aspects, that's going to be a net good for the game and encourage different types of play from different archetypes.
It's interesting. I'm gonna be a little controversial here. I think I'm actually not in the same camp you guys are on this one. I'm
Okay.
actually a little bit concerned on the fact that these cards have so much health.
So
And
you'd
the
rather see
reason,
more Battlefield Marines?
well, here's the concern that I have is cards like Maz Kanata, Fleet
Mhm.
Lieutenant. These cards exist,
Yeah.
and the game can snowball quickly out of your control if you're on the receiving end of me going ahead and playing my, let's just use like, I'll just use Sabine here for example, right? I play my
Mhm.
Battlefield Marine, you play your Gungi, I get initiative, I play my Fleet Lieutenant, kill your Gungi. I now have 2 units to your 0. So
Yeah.
now I'm incredibly far ahead. This game feels like it can snowball greatly out of control for you, and you have to like really catch up. Like you have to find a catch up mechanic in these aggro matchups.
Mhm.
So I'm actually very concerned that there's so much health in such little attack, because before, if you ran your Battlefield Marine into it, you traded. So now it's kind of 1 for 1. But now we're ahead. So that's where I'm concerned about where it's going. I think that there are a lot of people that haven't tested into aggro decks yet, or they haven't gotten into those grindy fights where we're going ahead and trading units, and you see like
Mhm.
these things happening. But cards like Sabine, these 2/3s, they're going to be like kind of a concern, because if you're keeping if you're not killing things or not able to like, 4 and 5 are kind of interesting breakpoints. Green heroism seems like right out the gate that it's going to be very powerful. Turn one
Mhm.
Gungi is going to be a very powerful turn in that deck. And if you're a creature deck and you're not playing Power of the Dark Side, that kind of gives them free reign to go Jedi Lightsaber if their Gungi doesn't die, and then they're playing another unit for free. And now they all of a sudden have a 5/7 on, or I'm sorry, 5/8 on turn 2,
Right.
and it kills anything on your board. And let's assume that they have like another 2-drop in their hand that they can play. Now they've got 2 units that are massive, and they're just
Mhm.
like really far ahead. Inversely, if they just go like Maz Kanata, kill your guy, like now there's like some problems here. So I'm curious where it's gonna go, what's gonna happen, um, in that aspect with these bigger health units and lower attack. So
Yeah, I mean it's totally fair. I mean a lot of these breakpoints are interesting. Like with the Fleet Lieutenant example, though, like if you played Sabine unit and your opponent Fleet Lieutenant, their Battlefield Marine and your Sabine unit, like we kind of would end up with the same result. So I think some of the situations would happen either way, I guess. But then it's like, yeah, like do you want to play like a 3/2 to combat that? But then if you run a 3/2 and then your opponent plays a 2/4, then it's like kind of also terrible. So yeah, I think it definitely is a lot harder. Like it'll be interesting to see like if there is like a force aggro deck with Maz Kanata. Like I guess Obi-Wan probably runs her. Obi-Wan Green. I don't know.
yeah,
Um, so that's like the most obvious one.
I mean, I don't
And
think
yeah, I mean,
Sabine's going anywhere. Like the most popular deck, and
sure. Yeah.
I haven't looked too in depth at it, but I could see that it not changing, but that's still a powerful aggro strategy.
Yeah, I think it would definitely impact the aggro mirrors more, right? Because if you're not aggro, I think they're probably just going base. But in the mirror, then yeah, like you said, that's kind of like a blowout.
I yeah, I think they're doing what they said they were going to do. They're incentivizing mid-range gameplay, and like I think in like other styles of card games that I've seen in the past, right? Like aggro opens differently than mid range, right? And some of the hyper aggro decks or some of the swarmier decks, can open in different ways and circumvent some of these 2/4 plays. And maybe we see a much more aggressive push from the aggro players into space because of stuff like this. You know, it's yeah. I think we all kind of heard this change coming from FFG. They advertised it, and yeah, I would imagine this is the new floor, at least moving forward for some time. So yeah,
Sure.
we'll see.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, that is my fear. I haven't tested enough with it to know that that's exactly what's going to go on, but it is something to at least be mindful of.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to make what's going to be interesting about that is if this does play out the way I'm explaining it, it will be interesting how important initiative becomes. Will this become a situation like say these aggressive strategies are dominating the format? Is initiative going to be just like an incredibly like important situation? Because it never feels good when you have no like um oh my brain, sorry, it's been a long day. You don't have any
You're good.
agency. You don't have agency in a game just off
Yeah.
the bat. So like in the Sabine mirrors, it felt pretty bad sometimes because you would lose agency if you didn't have initiative in a lot of situations. And
Right.
like the one you just mentioned, if you start Sabine and your opponent starts Battlefield Marine, you lose a lot of agency in that situation because you can't you're trading up, but they're not even trading. They're just killing your guy. And so they're
Mm.
just very far ahead at that point. Um and it'll be interesting to see where this goes. And then Brandon, you made an interesting point about space units. I'm not gonna lie with you. A lot of these lists I've been looking at, they have like no space units, like zero.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Vader four, if people are not prepared for any space,
Mm.
Vader 4 is going to eat everything alive. Like any
Yeah.
space deck will just eat
Hmm.
everything alive. Like you cannot, like that
Mhm.
deck's not going anywhere. You cannot ignore it.
Mhm. Yeah. Set 5 hype is driving everyone to want to believe Set 5 is going to introduce, all these ridiculously cool new techs, and I think all of us are chasing that new thing, but yeah, holistically, the vast majority of lists that I've tested that are new have a pretty bad game into decks like Vader or Han Green right now. So
Yeah,
yeah, don't count yourself out just yet, Vader players. There might be a future for you yet.
yeah, they're for sure. Napoleon of the West goes ahead and
Yeah.
asks, "What are our predictions for how the game or meta is going to change after
Mm.
rotation?" It's obviously way too early to know, but give your hot takes. My hot take: Purgle King is going to be the best card in the game. Not close. Creature deck's going to roam wild. Just
Yeah.
wait.
Oh my
All right,
god.
not actual hot take. Seriously though, it's really hard to tell because I think from like we just mentioned, if these force decks don't adapt to playing space units are going to be very powerful. Like Vader 4, uh, Pilot Han, like these strategies are going to be very, very potent. At the same time, there are some strategies that, Obi-Wan right out the gate looks insane. Like, he looks very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Like multiple colors. It's not even just like one color. It's just like three different, like all three colors have viable, interesting areas in my mind. Um, I could see a world third sister becomes an aggro deck, but
Mhm.
there's a lot in my opinion. I think Obi-Wan in my mind is right out the gate without a very shallow testing is going to be incredibly powerful.
What are we calling rotation here? Like when set 5 releases?
No.
I assume that they're meaning like when, if they're talking about after the rotation,
Seven
I mean,
releases.
I thought they were talking about for Galactics, but because
Oh,
there's almost no way that I could predict how rotation's gonna look. We don't even have an entire set.
Mhm.
So I mean, if you want to clarify, Napoleon, of if you're talking like next year rotation, or are you talking
that's
about
what I
like in
assumed
2
he
months?
meant. Well, nothing's rotating in 2 months, right?
No, but
No, I think common sense sake is probably Galactics. Well, when set 7 drops.
when set
after that,
7
okay.
drops. Okay.
Yeah.
When set
So what
7
does that
Told you.
does that mean
Yeah.
we does that mean the opener is Jump to Lightspeed? Like that's the first legal set?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh, baby.
I
Dang.
actually have
Is
never thought about that. That's a
Yep.
crazy thought.
Is Piet good? Hmm.
You lose a lot in Piet. You lose Avenger and Devastator, like
Dude,
and
you can play
Relentless and Barrage.
Supremacy.
Yeah.
Supremacy.
Yeah, for 10.
Okay,
12.
what's the
Oh,
No,
what's
what's 10
the
with
if you
what's
play 2, yeah.
Piet's thing.
yeah,
I
and
guess it's
what's set 6 called? Power
Secrets of Power.
it's
That's
our
our
it's,
sponsor.
Secrets
it's
of
our
Power.
set. It's
Okay,
our
so we have
set.
no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't
We
release
know.
it yet.
We know,
We
though.
know what the set
Yeah.
is. We can't tell you.
Yeah,
That's our
we can't tell
secret.
you guys.
We're
Yeah.
we're hiding it.
Okay. A hot take. Cunning remains the best.
No, blue's the best. Blue's the best color in the game.
And nope. We're gonna go Cunning remains the best. With yeah, I'm saying Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's BDIF.
Yeah, I just it's hard for me to look at any of the other leaders and not think Obi-Wan out the gate is really powerful in set 7. I don't know. I obviously don't know what set 6 is going to release, but
Yeah.
if I was a betting man looking at how powerful the force cards are just in this set, and so far that's probably where I would go. That's probably where I'd start. I don't know. That's hard. I legitimately have not even thought about it. This is the first time I've thought about that type of question, to be honest. You lose a lot of powerful cards. Like
It better not be freaking Vader Yellow. I swear.
Vader Yellow loses a lot
man.
too. Vader loses Lurking TIE Phantom. They lose Eager Escort Fighter. Or I'm sorry, they lose Overwhelming Barrage. They lose the 2/3 that captures. Like
Good.
that deck loses a lot, actually. So I mean the next
Not
set's going to have
against me.
to. Yeah, so when set 7 releases, we'll have 4 sets. You're always gonna have 4 sets if I'm understanding it properly.
Minimum, yeah.
So the 4th set will either need to, the 6th or 7th set will need to have some number of vehicles to supplement these pilots,
Right.
or something else. So I don't know. It's a lot. It's my brain. It's been a long day. My brain can't keep up with this. This question's too complex. I have too small. It's too complex and my brain's too small.
One question. You smoked him out, chat.
I'm dead. My brain's just blowing up. I'm dead. Purgle King,
Yeah.
true God.
So I think it'll be a big adjustment for people when that happens, but I think it'll be a better game because you get all the broken stuff from year 1 out of here. So you lose Sabine, you lose Han, you lose Kira, you lose Anakin, you lose Quinlan, like all the best leaders from year 1, they're all gone. And you lose like the cards you mentioned, like Overwhelming Barrage and For a Cause I Believe in and Avenger and blah blah blah. So you lose all that stuff,
Wrecker,
and
ECL,
and just the list goes on and on. So we lose all that stuff, and you can see that like the cards they're making now are still good, but they're definitely like the worst cards from year 1 are like better. Like the worst cards we see now are like the floor is higher, but the ceiling's also lower, right? So I think like in an ideal world, like there'd be a little more trading, maybe there'd be a little more like sequencing around like a flip turn, a little more decisions to make, maybe because like the leaders are not going to be as powerful, right? If you look at like compare Han to any of the ramp leaders in the game now, it's just like the amount of restrictions and hoops you got to jump through to ramp into stuff compared to Han, just it's kind of like incomparable, right? So I think it'll be really interesting. I think it'll be very positive, but I think a lot of people will have to kind of adjust.
Yeah, it's going to be a big adjustment unless they like reprint a lot of these cards.
I don't think they will. I think we can see like threads of where like I jokingly call the craving power underwhelming barrage.
Sure.
Or whelming barrage, because like that to me it's like they're making these cards that are going to line up and kind of like be replacements.
Sure.
That are like worse or side grades or better or whatever. So I think they'll reprint some of the stuff like you said, like cards like open fire, resupply. I don't know how you side grade those cards, right? Like that would
make
just
open fire deal 5.
yeah, that actually might be a good idea.
Yeah.
But like some of those core or like takedown, right? Like these kind of core cards that are like just generically good. They only have one color pip in them, and like a lot of decks use them. Like I feel like they probably will. We actually have seen some of them be reprinted already, right? Like Resupply got reprinted in Shadows, I think, or something. We've seen some reprints in this set too. So like I think you have to reprint some of those core cards. Like how are you gonna like innovate and make like takedown like different than takedown, right? I mean, I guess there's a way to do it, but I think for the foreseeable future we'll have some of those shakedown. We'll have some of those core cards, but I don't think we're gonna get like Avenger reprinted, for example.
I think we'll get different names of those cards, right? Like we've seen like Luke's
Sure.
and stuff like that. I think we'll get different names. I think like Anakin is like the new Luke.
Yeah.
In the rotation, right? Like we have Luke currently, and then when that rotates, I think Anakin takes that spot.
For sure.
Right now, a lot of decks are playing them 6 and 7, and that's like gross. They're really that card. Spoiler, that card's really
That's
good.
what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, spoiler, Anakin's really good. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. The sevens, the 7 lineup kind of got changed into the 6 lineup.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing we're gonna get 7s in set 6, right? Because it seems like they like I don't know if they did it intentionally or not, or they just forgot. But year one, like 5 and 6 cost units were just like absent. I feel like they were like non-existent. They were like, all right, we'll give you like Wrecker and Poe, and then beyond that, it's like
Agent Khaled.
yeah, like there really was like a dearth of those units, which is very strange. So that's been one of the best things about this set is like, all right, we're gonna give you guys good 6 cost units to fill out a curve. So now I imagine in set 6 they'll add 7 cost units to like replace the ones in post rotation. That would be my guess, but we'll see.
I mean, there's even some decent like 5 drops, right? Like 4s and 5s that can help fill out curves of decks that aren't ramping. Like we call him Big Head, but Kiadi Mundi has a 4 drop. Like I mean, Big Head's legit, man. That guy draws cards, and he's a 4/4. That card's sick. Mace Windu's at 6. I don't know how I feel about Ray yet. I haven't played with her, but she's a 5 cost card, the new one. Like, yeah, 5s. I like that they went ahead and gave some love to the 5s. Like that was much needed in the 6s. So
also, while we say that, I feel like maybe arguably the best card in the entire set is a 7 cost unit at Qui-Gon Jinn. So they're still printing good 7s.
I don't know. I mean, the 7s are also good. Like Beller and Beck. Like
he's also really
Keller
good.
And Keller and Beck, not Beller.
Keller and Beck.
Yeah, Keller and Beck.
He's good too. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like insane as a 7. You have Qui-Gon. Red. Did they get a 7? I don't think they got a 7.
Red has Mace. Bet not 7.
For the 6.
No. Yeah, but
that's the good.
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you got Savage Opress at 6 for the villainy. That card a lot.
Heck yeah. Man, how have we not done a build around Savage?
Yeah, he's on my list. I definitely want to try.
He's on the list.
On the list.
Yeah. What did Blue get a 7? They got the Grappling Guardian. Goes right in my Purgle deck, baby.
There you go.
The 7 was this. Their other 7 was the Priestess of the Force.
Heck yeah.
That's the one that gives the shield to like 5 units. when you use the Force. That card's, I don't know, but yeah, I like where it's going. So so this leads me to the next thing. What kind of cards? Just the shallow. Doesn't have to be in depth or anything outside of the usual, like or the very obvious force throw. Um, what other cards from previous sets that either interact with force units or are interesting cards like that leaders, units, anything that's like has the keyword force that you've like been like, oh, that card is actually something that exists.
Um, yeah, that's interesting. I think Shadow's Ray is potentially worth re-exploring in some scenarios. Historically known as not a great card, but stat line I think is not terrible. Slash may have some application in the new set. Let's see.
I was looking at
Other
the
stuff.
forces with me. That's an
Forces with
interesting
me is
card.
great.
It's a
Yeah.
very good card.
What other we got? Well, we got it's new, I guess. It's not old. Let's say Force Crafty Smuggler. That
Yep,
card's pretty
very,
pretty
very,
Yep.
fun.
very good
Yeah,
card.
very good.
Yeah.
Really good card.
What other Force cards? There weren't a ton. I mean, obviously, there's a few that are like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to
It
think of
binds all
ones.
things becomes better for
It-
sure.
oh yeah, that
So
does.
yeah, it binds all things is heal 3 damage from a unit if you control force unit, deal that much to another.
It's pretty good.
So that's a what I think spark rare maybe.
Yeah. I wonder
Um,
if Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister get any better because they're Force units.
I feel like
maybe.
Fifth Brother gets replaced by Grand Inquisitor unit for me at
Yeah.
least, just because
Yeah.
he's got better stats. But Seventh Sister, I mean, if you can give her hidden, she's kind of interesting. I think.
Yeah. She's what, a 3/6 if I remember correctly, that pings something.
Yeah,
Is
she's a 3/6 Saboteur for 5, and then if she hits the base, she can deal 3 to a unit.
that's
So
right.
she can always hit the base and then like take out something, which I think is she's very slow, but like yeah, if you give her hidden, like maybe she could be playable. We'll see.
This is a hot take. This man, Tabletop Island. Sorry, I'm not supposed to pronounce that. Free my boy Boba 1.
Yikes.
I'm gonna tell you now. I'm down. I'm in.
They're freeing your boy Boba 1 into a whole new format that they're gonna send up.
I'd be good with the
Yeah.
DJ, letting DJ come back.
No,
But I
no.
don't know about
What
Boba
is
1.
wrong with you? No, no. Get in the stop.
I'll throw Ian a bone. Free DJ. It's
No,
fine.
no. Get that card out of here.
No.
No, get him out of here. Stay gone.
This is
That card should be deleted from the world. Like it does not need to exist. So,
fair.
yeah, no.
No.
No. Just no. That does not need to exist. What else is kind of interesting? Trying to see if there's any old. I'm just like looking through set 1. I mean, set 1 has like a billion rebels, so
Yeah.
Palpatine's a Force unit. That's a pretty interesting one. Him and Mace Windu. Like maybe Mace Windu will actually be like really good this now because we can ambush with them and
Yeah.
generate force immediately. So
That's true.
you see a world that's actually pretty good. I mean, obviously Vader and Maul I think are crazy. Like those cards,
Yep.
they're ambush and force, and they're just
Yeah.
they're just great cards. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, learned this week. FYI to everybody, for some reason, Power of the Dark Side is not a force traded card. The card where Vader is literally killing somebody with the force. It is not a force traded card. So don't get your hopes up.
Isn't
They planned that one in advance.
Isn't the lightning bolt, I forget the name of it, the red
Sorcerer's
lightning bolt?
Blast.
Sorcerer's Blast?
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
force either, is it? Or is it?
It's great.
I don't
Love
know.
to see. Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up. I got it in a deck.
It's-
It is force. It is force.
It is force. Oh, okay.
Boom.
Yeah,
They got that one right.
They're cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Is Power of the Dark Side too powerful as a force card? That might be
What does innate
Probably.
even mean?
I don't know. All I know is there's a card it's a card called Psychometry
Yep.
in the new set, and it lets you look at a trait on a card, and then you look at the top 5 of your deck, and you can find a matching trait. So you can look at a unit in your discard, and then find an event with the matching trait, or matching events, or matching upgrades, or whatever.
Yep.
So traits, I guess, matter a little bit more right now. I definitely want to try that card out.
Yeah. So if you're looking for your cunnings, you can find it via
Yeah.
Power of the Dark Side for some reason.
There you go.
Wait,
It's
those
checked
cards
out.
are innate?
Those are both
Yeah.
innate cards.
So
Yeah.
you know what else is an innate card?
Great in power.
Rampage.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Decreasy. All your dreams can come
Our
true.
creature decks
Yeah.
are cooking right now. Creature decks are cooking. Let me tell you.
We're in there.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's shift gears here a bit. So we talked a little bit about the cards in the set. We've talked about a ton of things about the new set and everything, but we haven't really talked about the leaders themselves. So I want to go ahead and put you both on the spot here. Give me a leader that you're like, this is my hot take. This leader is going to be good, and we just haven't found it yet. Let's start with you, Andrew.
Hot take on like a leader that I think will be good that maybe other people aren't on right now.
Well, the one that we talked about that you were talking about, pick a leader. And
okay, all right. So
this
a
is
leader
you
I've been
chose.
experimenting with, and like I don't know if she'll actually be good, but I'm gonna still. I tried with her a little bit, and I think she's quite fun. Is Barris Offee. So I think she's really interesting. I haven't figured out like a build yet that's like strong or whatever, but so I initially tried like with the on attack force base, and like basically like all the little like villain villain vigilance units like Karis and stuff like that, to try to like get the force. And then you're running events. You can run like Power of the Dark Side for 2 because she discounts everything. I have Cunning in there for 5. Overwhelming Barrage for 6. So you get to run like all the fun events. And it didn't quite come together, but there were some good games in there, and she definitely has some pieces. But I think I want to try to get some of the maybe cheaper events in there for a little bit more of like a spread instead of all the expensive ones. But I don't know. Her ability is really fun. She deploys on 6, so she's kind of slow, but I haven't quite given up on her just yet.
No, for sure. All right, Brandon, what's yours?
When you play a game, as Andrew mentioned in his video, it's really important to make sure you're having fun. And to have fun, you need to play a leader that you can get behind, a leader that has a little nostalgic factor, and a leader that brings, something to the table that other leaders aren't. And if there's something I've learned in testing over the past couple of weeks, the power of +1/+1 experience, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Changes the game. Changes the game a little bit. And, I'm not stopping until Darth Revan is good. I am going to push through whatever I got to push through. I'm going to add my Purgles. Okay. I'm going to add my creatures. Get a little Malakili going on in there. Get a little Hantu Zoo Revan. Saw that in the KTOD Discord. Shout out. What's up? What's up, everybody?
They
know.
Hell yeah. Experience is powerful, everybody. And in, a month or so, when you see me at locals with my showcase Darth Revan cooking, I told you so. On 6/9.
Dude, when you play your Purgle King and you draw cards, you just think of me every card you draw. You just think of me. When you rampage your board and you go ahead and also play your Drengir spawn and then Overwhelming Barrage with a flipped Revan and kill a bunch of things and then attack something else and make it bigger, just think of me. Just remember you heard it here. All I'm saying.
I might.
Where you came from.
Yeah. Andrew's like, I don't want to be on this team anymore. He wants to go somewhere else.
I mean, you guys got to follow your dreams.
Boom.
Don't
And I sure will.
the wisest words, don't let your dreams be dreams.
Boom.
Just do it.
Nobody will tech for me.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
Secret weapon.
Get
No
those
cyborg
get those
slots.
points. I actually so I'm in the camp I'm somewhere in the camp of Andrew here. I think Morgan Elspeth is pretty interesting. Um
Mm.
Mhm.
the idea of like for me it's like playing there in yellow green for example, there are so many ambushers. Having the
Yeah.
idea of playing like Maul and Vader for 6 is crazy in my mind.
Or
Being able
5 if you resupply.
exactly no you well on turn 5 yeah
Yeah.
and but being to play it for 6 resources is like crazy going ahead and there's some like really good cards in yellow and green that have ambush um like Forlom's a card that exists there's in the new set at 5 there's a ton of force units running around the 5/5 creature that comes in ambushes kills things you know
Mhm.
those cards are there you still get to play overwhelming barrage you still get to play super laser tech and your ramp like all of these cards are there in yellow green in the past we've seen it be insane so why not you know two really powerful colors I could see a world that like the ambushing is very very powerful um so that's something that's really interesting to me so
You got George's blessing in chat here. I think he's going to build the Revan Zoo deck before you guys do.
whoa,
Oh
chill,
yeah.
dude. I'm gonna need you to chill.
If
Stealing our
if
ideas? You can't. You're not allowed to take it to Worlds.
nah, man,
You're not.
if it's George sponsored, I'm behind it 100%.
Nah.
10
I
out of
can't.
10.
I
I
can't.
love George decks,
If
dude.
he gets if he gets like a like, do we know if like I wish the Purgle King was like gonna be a prestige card because I would actually buy a serialized Purgle King. I would get a serialized one.
Is he force? Is he force traded?
I don't think. No, he's not. He's just a creature. He's just a
Oh,
creature.
dang.
I mean, I'm gonna have my prestige Darth Vaders. That's gonna be like the first play set I buy.
Definitely.
But
Mhm.
yeah, Morgan Elspeth I think is like really interesting.
Mhm.
24 Purgle King in top 8. Dude, that's what I'm talking about, George. That's what I'm talking about. Set the meta.
3
That's what
X.
the world needs. Now, this
Sounds
may be
good.
the top 8 of our locals, but this is of our like 8-person
Boom.
locals. But
Yeah.
still, you know, that's all that matters. It's a top
Coming
8
for you,
somewhere.
Vader boys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're drawing cards,
That's
baby.
right. Get past the space whales.
Just wait
Yeah.
till I give my whale a gun and it attacks for 6, and I go ahead and restore 4. What are you gonna do now, Agrodex? What are you gonna
Boom.
do now?
Snap.
That's what I'm saying. We're killing those Vaders on those TIE fighters, like right into it. Just you wait, baby. Small
Revan
details.
space whales.
Yeah, Revid Space Whale.
I'm on it.
This is yeah. I'm really excited. I think those are like the some interesting leaders. Um, that have interesting potential. I agree with you. Like Bear Sophie is super sick. I was talking about. I've even talked to you about like the idea of mono yellow, with our. I mean, cunning
Mhm.
and surprise. Cunning for 3, surprise strike for 1. Like those cards are insane. Like being able to do that in
Yeah.
that deck is like pretty wild. Um,
Yeah, definitely want to test her with mono yellow. I think the other idea I had today when we were talking earlier was trying her out with the was it Virgins Temple, the
Yeah.
rare blue base.
yeah,
So that way, like you could try like Dr. Pershing or a Sing, some of these other cards that aren't force units, but like could still like
Just get it
help
out
you
the gate.
like draw some cards, draw into some cheap events, play the cheap events for 0, and see if like you can kind of take that approach. So I'll give that a whirl.
yeah. I've seen Virgin's Temple played a little bit, and also I've seen the green one played a little bit, and they're
Okay, I
pretty
haven't seen the
interesting.
green one at all. That's cool.
I've seen like on Carabast a few times played, and they changed the dynamic of how the game is, like getting your force units early or your force token early,
Hmm.
getting it immediately on blue is pretty crazy.
Hmm.
You do, I think one of the things I don't like about Virgin's Temple is if your deck revolves around any sort of force payoffs, it feels
Hmm.
less consistent to me. just because
Sure.
you only get it one time, and you lose the factor of being able to get it multiple times and like mess around, like do some crazy shenanigans. Especially in yellow, where you can play multiple cards that use the force, get the force
Right.
back on their attack, and then do it again. Um, you kind of lose that in my mind. But maybe if you're playing one card a turn, it just like doesn't matter. So
Hmm.
it'll be certainly interesting to see how like the dynamic of the 28 versus 25 bases
Yeah.
versus, I mean, just thinking about green, right? Like Data Vault.
Hmm.
How many people are going to be in shambles because they lose 5 health? Like, holy
Yeah.
smokes, we're losing 5 health. We're going from 33 to 28.
Yep.
Let alone like ECL, like going back to the
Yeah.
ECL Tarkentown decks where we lose eight
Right.
health. By the way, you have to make concessions in your deck. You can't play 60 like threes of everything.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's going to be really interesting.
I as a data vault man myself, I have found it a little bit like, refreshing slash like I haven't been too frustrated moving predominantly to the four spaces and testing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which ones
28.
have you like tested that you liked?
Sure. So I mean, I anytime I go to one of these rare bases, with the exception, there's kind of been some jank rare red base stuff that I've been doing, that surprisingly has gone really well. If we're talking about something kind of comboing force and space aggro, uh, chewy cheese plus that red base
Nice.
is pretty good. But yeah, predominantly I'm like in the normal 28 HP. Yeah, friendly force unit attacks, get the force bases across the board, and rare bases. I totally agree with the sentiment. I was a big Virgin's Temple guy, once that got spoiled, but as mentioned, I don't love the kind of not having, like, I'd be cool with it if it was like get the force and then like get it again on attack. But
Right.
I don't think it's worth 25 just to, have the economy change on when you get it, I guess.
You feel like it like
Uh,
runs out of gas, kind of.
yeah, absolutely. So,
Okay. Interesting.
but yeah, going to 28 HP, as a trade-off for force decks, yeah, so far has felt really good to me. And like, yeah, again, in the Hantu Blue camp, I'm still on team force base for that one, in
Yeah,
testing.
losing the 2 health seems pretty
Mm.
negligible. I mean, for if you get access to like some
Two?
payoffs, but I'm saying the on attack basis,
So I'm
like
losing
going from.
5. What are you talking about? That's a
That's true.
lot.
You guys are losing 5. You're
I'm
data vault
losing
enjoyers.
5. That's crazy.
I'm not, so I don't care.
You're gaining health. You're going the other way. You're
Yeah,
like, woo,
yeah. I'm like,
gaining life.
woo, gained 3 life. Hot damn.
Absolutely.
Let's
But
be
yeah.
real. You're not playing those bases. You're playing ECL. There's no world you're not ECLing Vader at Worlds.
Probably, yeah,
Yeah,
or Shan Flurry, one of the two.
yeah,
Big
it
time.
feels like a real hard. Like if I was a
Same.
gambling man, I would be willing to bet you're playing Vader in some deck. And
Probably.
if you're not, whatever you're playing is messed up. Like it's a
It's
messed
messed up.
up deck.
Something's gone wrong.
Yeah, something in the set's gone wrong for you not to play Vader. That is the most U card I've ever seen.
It looks pretty good. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see
Yeah,
if ACL makes a comeback.
yeah.
Mhm.
There's some stuff with that. That card, that base is crazy. Like we got some sixes in this set that Anakin, Vader.
Anakin's pretty
Why are they
sweet.
all blue?
Best color. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean I'm not upset, but they're all. I just mentioning them. They're all blue.
I am just happy. Vigilance, I will say, just interject real quick that they showed the stats from the PQs in like sets 3 and 4. And of all the colors, the Vigilance representation was like 10. It was like almost, it was sub 20%. It was like almost single digits. It was like 11 to 13% or something. It was so bad. So I'm really glad that they're like making Vigilance units that are good, not just like
Yeah,
here's a 5-cost removal spell that does something wacky or
Mhm.
whatever. Like they're making like good units, and I feel like that's like much better for that color.
wait, are you telling me your favorite removal spell is not No Glory?
I mean, I have to run No Glory because of Chewbacca. It's like it's like a necessity. Or at least in Kira I did.
I mean, I've
Maybe
heard that
not in
that's your
other.
favorite removal spell in the game. You love how that card's designed and everything.
I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is pretty wild. I mean, at the same time, like set one was dominated, like absolutely dominated by yellow with Boba Fett. So, I mean, that will kind of skew when Boba exists and it just goes in there. And
Yeah.
for those of you who are not in chat, George the Hulk is telling all the Vigilance gamers to rise up and fight the power. This is your time.
Yeah.
This is your time.
Don't let the man keep you down.
FFG cannot hold you down any longer. This will be your year, your season. So yeah. I mean, so looking at all the sets that we've got this is our 5th set so far. Just in terms of how it looks, let's go ahead and just give it like a score out of 100. Let's give it like a score out of 100. How you feel this set is, or if you'd rather, in comparison to the other sets, where do you think you would rank this set as like a 1 through 5 in comparison to the others? Where do you think power wise you would put it?
Oh, that's a great question.
So I guess.
So go ahead. You go first.
So I guess I would put this. So we could even rank all the sets, and we could do it this way. That would probably be the easiest way. You rank all the sets. I think set one's the most powerful.
For sure.
I think
absolutely.
for sure. I think I put set 2 as the second most powerful. I think Smuggle is an incredibly powerful mechanic, and I think it's insanely good. I love the Smuggle mechanic. It's one of my favorite mechanics they've introduced. With in using the resources, there's so many things I love about that mechanic that I could go on and on about it. And then I put JTL 3, and then I put Twilight 4th. I'm sorry, not Twilight. I'm sorry. This would be 3rd. JTL's 4. Twilight's 5th. I think Twilight's the weakest set.
Twilight's like off the list.
Yeah, Twilight probably shouldn't be there.
Twilight can't sit at the table with us.
That's a mistake. Yeah, it's like a Thanksgiving when you go ahead and you visit your family, and everybody at the grown-up table gets to go ahead and sit there. Like, and you're at the kids' table. They're actually left in the car. That's where Twilight is. Twilight's forgotten about. That's
that sounds
over there.
About right.
So that's how I rank it. I think it's the 3rd most powerful set.
Fair. All right, Brandon, what's your?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm considering this a couple of different ways because little old me thinks when we get to Galactics, there's going to be some announcements. And one of the announcements I am really hoping comes out is a competitive draft format, or at least an introduction to draft play in tournament. So
very hyped.
As a draft set, I'm actually pretty hyped about what's coming out here. It sounds like it's going to be like real clashy. I'm excited to see, like what kind of strong decks can be built out of this. And I think there's a lot of really cool ways to enjoy the set in draft. As a addition to constructed play, I don't view the set at the moment as massively meta-defining, but I do think that it's going to give a couple of archetypes some really powerful tools to allow players that have been, like in the random, force-based mid-range camp to really rise up and have their time. And I think this is the set like where like you don't have to feel like you're just going to get constantly oppressed by Sabine, or something like that. Like I think there's going to be a lot of tools that come to a lot of different decks in this. I don't know that it's going to condense the meta tighter than like what we're already kind of living in. Like I'm kind of hoping we stay in a pretty wide open meta where people can add a lot of different flavor to a lot of different stuff. But I certainly don't expect that, a few months from now, we're all going to be playing nothing but 4 spaces, and I think there's still going to be a lot of the same old stuff still in play, but some people are probably going to find a lot of enjoyment in playing to this mechanic. So yeah, but really excited for draft. So hoping that's a thing.
Well, I actually haven't even drafted set 4, but where do you put it in terms of like ranking? If you had to rank it, is it like the third, fourth?
I think for me, I'm probably going to give this one just a slight little bit more gas than JTL, but otherwise I'm pretty in agreement with you guys. And the only reason I say that is because I think certain cards in this set are going to be showing up a lot more than stuff than we've seen in JTL. Like I think the redefining of a lot of the power levels for a lot of these cards is going to impact these decks a little bit more than JTL did.
So
both on the top end for heroism and on the kind of bottom end for villainy as well.
I didn't even think about this, but what about does the opinion change pre Django or post Django?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I feel like we're so biased on how we look at jump to light speed, right? Because it happened like in the middle of the set.
Right.
I mean, I just have like it almost felt like you're being like the meta was just like suffocated like before the suspensions, and it was just like a very linear kind of rigid like structure to the meta. I felt like, and then post suspension, it was like, oh, we can actually play with some of these new cards and stuff now.
So do you think if Django hadn't gotten banned, that JTL would be more powerful than this set?
So I still think that Bamboozle was a mistake, like specifically like affecting pilot leaders.
Sure.
I think that was just a massive oversight on their part, and there was no clean way. They don't want to errata stuff, so there's no clean way to like rectify that. I think that the cards were really exciting in JTL, but the leaders were just dead. I mean, we have to come out of that set now. We have Vader and
Han 4, baby.
Han? No.
Is that a thing?
It was just in the final.
Are we giving the Lake Country boys their time?
I don't think it's not a deck. I think it's like legitimate.
All right. Well, I guess in my mind it's just Vader, and then everyone else is on a different tier or whatever. So I feel like the now is that because of Bamboozle? Yeah, I mean probably a lot of it is Bamboozle. So that's a thing though. But whereas this set, I feel like it's maybe a little bit the opposite, where there are exciting cards, maybe not as many, but the leaders have more of a chance to do their thing. I feel like there's no like Bamboozle for these leaders, like 0 cost rivals fall for half of the leaders in the set, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. And while a lot of these leaders, people have said, oh, they're very disappointing and blah blah, because they're just comparing them to year 1 leaders, which is completely unfair and like doesn't make any sense. I think there's a chance like we see like a decent amount of these leaders like at the Galactics.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm hoping that set 6 is, super awesome. Actually, spoiler, it is awesome. We already know. That's the secret.
That's the secret.
Here we go.
Let the Reddit thread begin. Team Sekrit has access to secrets of power prior. That's why our team name is what it is, because we already know what's going on. So
we'll be flexing to Xander at Galactics pretty hard.
we already know. Lights Out goes ahead and mentions that there's a 6-round draft tournament side event at the Vegas, and that they feel that that's definitely going to be testing waters for larger competitive draft events.
Okay, totally.
So I agree with that. So in Flesh and Blood and Magic, they had draft events, part of their Pro Tours and their nationals and things of that nature. So a limited event, I think, can be done. The problem for part of Flesh and Blood, and I don't know how it is nowadays, but the Flesh and Blood draft was it wasn't great. It didn't feel great. Magic's draft felt great a lot of the time. Not all the time. A lot of the time. So I think you can definitely do it. You just have to take what those games do for their draft. They would do, I believe it was like 3 rounds of draft into 6 rounds of constructed on day 1, and then day 2 was another, or it might have been 3 and 4. I don't remember. It's been such a long time. It might have been 3 and 5. And then day 2 was the same thing. And then your top 8 was um, constructed. Every now and then there would be a top 8 draft event that they would do a top 8. They would like a limited or a sealed top 8, but most of the time it was draft into a constructed format. And they would split it. So you do half your rounds in one format, then you'd close out the day, and then the next day you'd do draft, and then you close out the last half of the day in constructed. And I always thought that was interesting because it forces you not only to play the constructed format, but it allows people that thrive in limited events and limited factor like evaluation of games to really thrive. And it was always cool to watch. So
yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah. So that's driven by community interest. So yeah, hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys in some of the draft side events at Galactics. But yeah, certainly FFG is not gonna make an effort to make that competitive if there's not interest to do it. So yeah, we'll see.
It's not that it was like a competitive thing. It was just this is half of the event. So it forced the top echelon players that qualified for your highest level event to not just be good at one format, such as like constructed, but it forced them to also be good at a limited format, to make decisions on building decks on the fly. And those were really interesting skills. And so I would definitely be interested I'd be excited if they did something like that in the future. But with that, you guys got anything else you want to talk about with the new set and for everybody? Anything we haven't covered today?
I don't think so. I don't know. Just having a lot of fun diving in, chatting with everybody, seeing what. There's still so much stuff to test, I feel like. But yeah, it's been really fun so far, I think.
Yep, same. Cool to see all the like just absolute craziness on online right now and testing. Yeah, as the weeks go on, we'll see what brews kind of start rising to the top. But everyone, I'm sure, is cooking their own really, really interesting spice right now. And one thing, yeah, I'm excited about is just seeing all that come to light at Galactic. So yeah, the world is your oyster right now. Yeah, let's get crazy with it, and let's get those pre-orders in so everyone gets their cards on time for Galactics. So think about that.
Brandon, what's gonna rise to the top?
The cream. Okay, we're not doing that. We're not doing that on the podcast right now.
For those of you that don't know, Brandon is a avid lover of WWE, and
who isn't?
He goes ahead and says random sayings.
Yep.
The one-liners from they are wonderful. They brighten our mood every time. We're about to get some one of these days. I think we'll go ahead and set up some merch, and they're gonna have like Brandonisms. They're just his one-liners that we're just gonna have on there. So, but with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And hanging out, talking about the new set. Really excited for it to see where it's going. Watching games on Petronaki, playing games. People have been looking for games in the Discord. I know we've been messing around playing just a ton of random stuff online. So if you see us on there, make sure to shout us out, say hello. Please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us. Last I checked, we are very close to hitting our 500 subscribers. We're 483, and nice. We are going to go ahead and do a giveaway for the 500th subscriber. I do have a Vader showcase, so if you are the lucky 500th subscriber, we will go ahead and try and reach out to you to go ahead and get that Vader showcase to you. So go ahead and tell your friends, make alt accounts. Whatever you need to do. If you're I'm like 99% positive we can figure out who the 500th person is by just looking on the back end here.
Yeah,
but it's Vader 4, not old Vader. Man, that's the one I'm getting. I'm getting Vader 4.
You'd be keeping that for yourself.
Yeah. If I get the old Vader, I'm keeping that for myself. But I do have a Vader 4 showcase for our 500th subscriber. So looking forward to seeing who that is. We're at 483 right now. Was that 27 more? So help us out. No, actually, it's 17. I'm sorry, I can't count. 17 more. So yeah, help us out. Help us get there. And again, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we did. If anything, you got ideas, put them in the comments below. We will go ahead and make sure we go and reach out to you or talk, reply to those comments. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And see you next Monday. Later, everybody.